Hey everyone, welcome back to Sgcarmart. So we have a bit of a special car today. This is the Porsche 718 Spyder. And just to be very clear, this car isn't new. This car was launched in 2019 and the 718 range as a whole was launched in 2016. So that makes this generation of car almost a decade old. So obviously the big question is, why are we driving this? Well, firstly, it's because it's a bit of a special car, but secondly, it's because this is pretty much the last of its ilk. So what exactly is a 718 Spyder? Is it just a Boxster with a go-fast engine? Maybe that might be somewhat close to the truth, but it's a lot more than that, right? So this is obviously based on a Boxster with a whole bunch of upgrades, but it's not a Boxster and it's not called a Boxster, it's a 718 Spyder. So let's take a closer look. If you are thinking of selling your car, try Coates.
Coates helps you sell your car quickly and easily. With the new Coates doorstep, get a professional inspection by a certified mechanics at your convenience anywhere on the island. Coates will then auction out your car online to its wide network of dealers to bid on your car. Once bidding is complete, Coates will update you with their best offer price at no obligation. It's that easy.
To find out more, visit coates.com.sg. That's QUOTZ.com.sg. Now, back to the review. Now, this 718 Spyder may have the same general shape as a 718 Boxster, but there are some obvious design differences. So at the front, we obviously have this very prominent front lip with the little Spyder word over here. We have an intake over here, and then we also have more aerodynamic elements at the front. But perhaps most noticeably will be at the side and at the rear. So let's go check it out. Now, the 718 Spyder rides on 20-inch 718 Spyder design wheels, but the most obvious difference would be at the back. So a Spyder is supposed to be an open-top car, and therefore we have these two huge rear buttresses, and underneath there is the roof mechanism. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And now at the back, we have a small spoiler of sorts, a ducktail spoiler. This is actually adjustable. And we have two round tailpipes at the back. Again, overall, it's a familiar shape, made to go a little bit faster, made to go a little bit more intense. Importantly though, we do have to talk about the roof, so let's get to it. Now, before we jump inside the car, let's quickly talk about practicality. This car has two boots, so it's very practical. Let me show you. Here at the rear, we have 120 liters, so huge. It's quite shallow, it's not terribly small, and I think you could fit a cabin luggage in there. Obviously, we also have this very interesting boot mechanism over here. But if we move on to the front, we have a 150 litre front, so that's actually bigger than the rear. And if you take a look, it's actually quite deep. It will fit probably a few bags. I can fit my helmet inside, no problem. So yeah, it's not the most impractical car in the world. However, one thing that's a little bit impractical is the roof mechanism. Let me show you. Now, roof time. So for purpose of demonstration, we have the roof now closed. So step 1, the car has to be on. Step 2, we press this button over here. One latch here opens up and the boot opens up. Step 3, we have to undo these two little flaps over here, and it has to be fixed in a particular way over here, the other side. So we're still at step 3. We've already probably taken 20 seconds. Okay, now that that's done, step 4, we open the boot. Step 5, we now have to physically open the roof. Step 6, close the boot. And step 7, close these two flaps over here. And we now have a convertible. So yes, that's perhaps not the easiest roof mechanism in the world. Now, let's close the roof. Step 1, back in the car, we hit another button. Again, nothing's happening, we just have opened the boot. First, open up the boot. Second, again, manually, you're gonna have to lift this up, and it's not the easiest roof to lift up. Step 3, close the boot. And now we have to refix these little flaps over here. Not that easy. And finally, we still have to get back in the car. We have to again hit this button to latch this over here. And now the roof is closed. Didn't take that long, did it? Now let's talk about the interior. So like I mentioned, the 718 was first launched in 2016, and that means that this interior is basically from 2016. So if you look around, it's a very simple interior, and honestly in some ways quite old school, right? So if you look at the steering wheel, there are 4 buttons and 2 little wheels over here. There's actually one more button here for the heating. I actually really like this steering wheel. It's simple, it's straightforward. Perhaps more obviously is this infotainment system, right? It just looks old. It has a CD player slot. When was the last time you saw a CD? And in terms of actual functionality, we don't have navigation, that's a cost option. We have, however, Bluetooth connection, a radio, a few car settings, and that's about it. There is wired Apple CarPlay, but no wireless. So bring your cables. Now if we move on down the center console, this is an auto, there is a manual option, and then these are the most important buttons of the car. Loud mode, fast mode, hard mode, scary mode, and very scary mode. So these are all your driving controls, right? And obviously we have the mechanism for some parts of the opening and closing of the roof. Mostly the mechanism is you. Beyond that, let's talk about storage. Storage, we have a little console over here. We do have a glove box and a USB-A port, and we have cup holders because there is nowhere else to put a cup or a bottle. There are some tiny cubby holes here at the side, but it will fit my wallet, it will fit a small purse, and that's about it. We also have clothes hooks. Why? I'm not sure, but over here so you could put one jacket. So the question of course is, why is there so few things? It's very simple. Lightness, right? This car wants to achieve that pure driving experience, and because of that, everything that you don't need, you won't find in this car. For example, you don't even have door handles. You just have 2 pieces of cloth on either side. Expectedly, though, materials are excellent, right? So you have Alcantara here on the seats, Alcantara on the steering wheel. You have some nice Spyder wording over here, and there is definitely a sense of an analog feel with this car, right? There is one screen and the other 2 are analog, and this one has been optioned with the red dials. It's a lovely space to be in, but it's also a very simple place to be in. Now, if you want to drive a 718 Spyder, 2 important things you need. First, some shades, and secondly, a lot of sunblock. Now let's go for a drive. The Porsche 718 Spyder is priced upon asking. The 4-litre engine produces 415 brake horsepower and 430 Nm of torque. The automatic transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km/h in 3.9 seconds. The 718 Spyder has a claim fuel consumption of 9.6 km per litre. For more details on the Porsche 718 Spyder or any other car, head on to Sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Now let's talk about performance. 414 brake horsepower, 430 Nm of torque, and a 0 to 100 time of 3.9 seconds. And if I'm being honest, I don't give a single damn about any of those numbers, because there's only one number that really matters, and that's 8,000. As in 8,000 RPM red light. This is a 4-litre naturally aspirated flat 6, and with the 8,000 RPM red light, we can do this. And that's honestly precisely the point of this car. You want to do that over and over again, right? This driving experience is dominated by the engine and specifically by that soundtrack. You know, you have an iconic flat 6 sound, and because this is an open top, you're going to be hearing it all the time. Right? You just want to hold on to low gear. I'm in 4th, so let's go down to 3rd, 2nd. Look, this car is fast, sure. Is it scary fast? No, you know, there are EVs much quicker than this. There are obviously Porsches much quicker than this. But that's kind of besides the point. I don't care about going fast in this car. I care about making the car and making the engine do this. Now we should also talk about the handling of this car, right? So this is a mid-engine sports car and it feels very agile. Another thing about this car is that it's meant to be light. So this car is 1450 kg, and it honestly feels light, right? I think with a lot of modern cars getting heavier, bigger, and stiffer and stuff like that, this car feels small. It feels a little bit old school, and let's be honest, that's because it is a little bit old school, right? Fundamentally, this car is, you could make the case, almost 10 years old. Now, the other thing that I do really appreciate about this car is that while it is a performance car, it feels road friendly, right? It's firm, sure, but it's not overly harsh. So let's put it on the bumpy setting, right? So chassis sport. So this is your stiffer setup, and again, it feels alright, right? It feels firm, but it doesn't feel overly harsh. The car's not tramlining a lot in any way, actually. And it's just a really, really enjoyable car to drive on the road. It's quite a livable car in that sense, right? It's not overly harsh, you don't feel tired from driving it. Could you use this as a daily car? Well, I don't know about the roof, but from the driving sort of sensibility, you could. I think it's comfortable enough, it feels interesting enough, and it feels exciting. Now let's briefly talk about that engine behind, right? So it is a 4-litre flat 6, however, it's not the 4-litre flat 6 you would find in a GT3. Instead, this engine is based on a 992's 3-litre twin turbo flat 6. It has been brought up to 4 litres, turbos have been lopped off, and that means that the car can do this. Now let's talk about comfort, right? So if you weren't driving this car like a madman, it's actually quite comfortable. So let's say I'm in 6th gear now doing 60 km/h. The ride is very well sorted. It's on the firm side, but it's not harsh. It's actually, all things considered, quite comfortable for a performance car, right? Yes, there is a bunch of road noise, and obviously the roof is down, so there's a lot of wind noise. But hey, you are driving a Spyder. This is part of the convertible experience. But I must say, I'm enjoying driving this car in a normal setting, right? Like, for some context, I recently drove a GT3, and that's quite a harsh car to drive. It tramlines a little bit. It feels quite nervous when you're driving it. This one feels very accessible. It doesn't scare you in any way. It's quite easygoing when you are just driving it lightly. So I like that about this car. I like that it's not just a track weapon, right? It is a car for driving on public roads. So these 718 Spyders are a will buy, won't buy, or try. Now, I would say it's a will buy, however, here's the complicated thing. This car is no longer in production. Production ended in June 2024. So if you wanted to buy one brand new, well, you couldn't. However, you could still buy this car. As in, you could buy this car. This car is on sale. It is obviously pre-owned. I don't have $575,000. If I did, would I buy this car? I would really want to buy this car because, let's be very, very honest, this is the last of a generation, right? The 718 range, right? Porsche's mid-engine sports car is going fully electric. So this is the last iteration of that classic ICE formula, and this is the classic ICE formula. Well, okay, this is a PDK. You could have it in a manual, right? You could have it with 3 pedals, but it's a really lovely formula. Simple car, 2-seater, open top, naturally aspirated engine out the back, lovely handling. It's a special car, and this is a celebration of what enthusiasts like about cars, right? This is not a car for most people. Most people aren't going to get this car. And it's not a car designed for most people. This is a car designed for a small group of people. But this car is also a celebration of, celebration of petrol, celebration of simpleness, celebration of lightness, and it's a lovely, lovely, joyful thing. And I think that's really what's important about this car. It's not super fast, it's not super hardcore, it's not going to win any races, it's not going to set any amazing lap times. But it has that ability to make you happy, to make you feel special, and sometimes you really just want a car to do that. And let's be very honest, where else are you going to find something like that, right? Perhaps in the Porsche lineup, there are a couple of maybe similar things. So you could have a Cayman GT4, you could have a 911 GT3, there are obviously RS models, but those are slightly different cars again. Those mainly are base. If you wanted a convertible 2-seater with a naturally aspirated engine and potentially with 3 pedals, yeah, there's not much else you're gonna be able to get. These cars don't really exist anymore. Manufacturers aren't making them, and for good reason. These cars are tough sells, right? They are very, very small volume models with a very, very limited target crowd, right? It's not going to appeal to most people. And so these cars are honestly very rare, and because of that, they are very, very special. So yes, that's our drive of the 718 Spyder. It's such a lovely drive, and honestly it might be the very last drive of a Porsche like that with a petrol engine. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and of course remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel, and you can also hit the notification bell to be alerted of all our upcoming videos. And of course you can also find fun stuff with us on TikTok at Sgcarmart. So that's all I have. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! I can't help but smile, right? 2 pieces of cloth on either side.